Hello, SolarLoon here, and here is another weekly stream. How's everybody doing? Let me see something. I got a little, I got a comment in the chat. Philippe Giral says, "Hello, SolarLoon. Good to be here again." Hello. Okay, let's see here. So, hi. In case you don't know, I am an independent game developer who has been making games for quite a pretty good amount of time, and I'm basically working on one project in particular, which is called Gearend. It's a Metroid-like, and I've been working on it for a pretty good amount of time. I'm almost done with it, like very close to being done. So I figured that I would kind of show development on that today. Let's see here. So the current thing I'm doing is adding an NPC to this little area. I'm trying to think of exactly how I want to do this. So the idea that I'm looking at here is that basically I want this NPC to kind of only show up on a specific trigger. Like you are in Gearend, you can equip different parts, like different core parts, different arm parts, and different leg parts. And I feel like I wanted this to kind of like this event to only happen if you have a certain part, if you're using a certain part. So I'm trying to figure out exactly like where. Exactly where I want to, how I want it to be, so that the event triggers if you have the part, like if you're using the part. So I'm trying to figure out a good way to approach it. Okay, I think I know what I'm probably going to do. Oh, I didn't mean to move this. The engine I'm using, in case anyone's wondering, is BDX. Let's see this again. The engine I'm using is called BDX. It's a nice custom engine, basically, not super. Okay, hopefully that'll work. Not super well known or complex, but it works really well. Excuse me, Matthew Kohler. Hello. How you feeling? How's everyone doing this fine Monday? Oh, I changed the music, but I didn't actually change the music. I was wondering where it went. Let's see. Let's get something up here. Let's get some puzzle music. Okay, that should work. Okay, so what we're gonna do. So I'm setting the, writing this code here to determine like when exactly the NPC dialogue / event like triggers. So I have this object NPC_m_detector, which is used to basically tell us when we're detecting something. So it's going to tell us when the player's in the specific location that we need him to be in. So we'll move him over 3. Okay, so we say if detector dot touching player, then interact, and also we want to trigger the, hold on. Okay, so yeah, we want to trigger the event when the player's here. Let's kind of kick it down here. And syscon.player.equipment.get core is equal to core. Oh, I guess instance of core bill. Okay, let's try that. So okay, so starting label should be I need the water zone.txt. Okay. Matthew Kohler says, I found an interesting article on using a star pathfinding to run an AI today. That sounds interesting. What was it about? Okay, let's see. Prescript. Okay, now let's see, capsules.txt. What did I call this thing? Yeah, okay. Philippe Giroud, did you consider at any point of the development to do procedural levels? It's way too late for that now. The game's done, basically. I'm like working on the last like couple of things. But if I were to do this again, probably still no, because it's just, even though it's a lot of work to make the levels, it's just, you couldn't really have, I think, a really solid, like really solid Metroidvania where the levels aren't really pre-made and are just kind of random. I think that you could do it, like you could do it in a certain sense, like you could have random levels and things, and then like have maybe like intermediary levels that are pre-designed with specific challenges or things like that. But it seems like it'd be easier to just make the levels. I think that you could probably have a nice payoff of like having less work to make the levels if you just had enough area to like really justify it. Then maybe, yeah. Because I mean, I have a lot of rooms in each zone, pretty good amount of rooms. But if I was aiming for, let's say, like double the amount of rooms, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. Like I could see using procedural generation if it was like a much larger game, and if I kind of planned it out a little better, where I'm like, okay, the general gameplay flow is, you know, a challenge room and then 2 procedural rooms and then a challenge room. So you could say the procedural rooms are hallways, more or less, where you go through them to get to the challenge rooms, where, you know, maybe it's something that you need to get through as a puzzle, or maybe it's some items that maybe it's a puzzle, or maybe it's something that you need to get through using items that you have, like, you know, a jetpack or double jump or whatever, and then you go back to the hallways. So I can see, like, if I designed it more so with it in mind from the beginning, then it could work. But I just didn't do it with this particular game. I guess it should be Doctor, actually. Oh, I'm sorry. Matthew Kohler says, well, the idea was that A star is a node traversal algorithm at its most abstract. So set up a network of costed goals and set up a position in the network given the current state, pathfind to the next goal. So that's used to determine AI. You're not talking about, you're not talking about pathfinding, like, actually. You're talking about, like, using A star to determine what to do. That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about it. I guess you could you could do it like that. And I guess you you could change the position of the nodes to change how like how likely or how desired a particular like goal is. Like you could say, okay, the start point is always the center node, and kind of important things are nodes that are directly adjacent, like food, drink, like water, social contact, things like that. But then when the AI determines something else that is also a need, it can just like add that to like the outer edge, and it can actually like move it toward the center depending on how important it is. Or the costs between nodes could be gained, like you mentioned, depending on like I mean, I would probably I can see the idea. Like I wouldn't use it for this particular thing, but like I guess you could change the cost depending on like the situation of the AI. Like if he ate already, then he wouldn't be hungry, so the cost to eat would be really low, really high rather. So he would do other things. Yeah, that's just an example. You probably just wouldn't run it for that purpose, but that's interesting, very interesting. I can see that working pretty well actually. Okay, so I'm writing here a little kind of dialogue system, dialogue stream. I don't know what quite to call it. Where the goal is to, I mean, a couple of cinematics basically, a couple of events. Okay, so that's probably enough for that. Let's see. E.T. says, have you played Sunless Sea? No, I haven't. I think it's on my wish list though. I'm actually a fan of like roguelikes and procedural games. There's a lot of them coming out very recently. They seem like they're very popular, which is nice because I like the genre. So it's cool. I haven't played Sunless Sea yet though. Maybe I'll play something on stream. I don't know what I have that would be interesting. That would be a cool, like, randomly generated kind of game. But I'll have to see what I have and see what would be cool. Let's see. So yeah, I'm just like walking through the general like idea of this cinematic right here. what's the word? You're quite the. Oh, I understand. You're quite the. Like, I'm trying to think of a word that's kind of like not like prudish, not like I guess pensive. Like when you're careful, it's like you're quite the not standoffish. You're quite the actually standoffish might work. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm trying to remember, like, trying to get this all squared away, how this, like, should go and progress. Philippe Giroux says, procedurally generated games are in the mainstream, but with great power comes great responsibility. No Man's Sky is the best example for that. Yeah, I think... Wizard Hunter. Oh, look who is streaming again, Solarloon. Who does this guy think he is? very much so. Who do I think I am? Working all day. Well, not all day, but working from time to time, regularly, sometimes. Doing things. People watching on stream. The nerve. Yeah, great power comes with great responsibility. Yeah. A lot of, well, I feel like the main problem with No Man's Sky, well, I feel like, I can't really say for sure because I never played it, I haven't played it, but it seems like it's really a case of like, they put a lot of time and effort into generating world stuff, but I feel like they could have done way better just having maybe 1 or 2 worlds, because I mean really, and just like packing those worlds out, because really, a lot of people like open world games and like the idea of that stuff, but they really don't like I don't think a lot of people care about open world in truth. Like when you think of like what people expect by open world, they just mean like no loading more than anything, or just minimal loading times. Like when you think about an open world game where it's like, oh, you can go all over this place and you can go do this and there's side missions and, you know, all this stuff, most people just end up like fast traveling everywhere anyway. Like, so what's the point of even having a huge world if you can fast travel? Like, well, what does it do? You know, even if it's like you have to travel to each kind of waypoint once, or you can fast travel to kind of like specific locations, like specific kind of like I can't think of the word, like waypoints or, you know, predetermined locations like save points or whatever. It's like, yeah, that I think most people would rather just have, like, most people would rather have a fun small game than like a huge boring game. Wizard Hunter. I think the thing players want most in any game is progression. Basically, yeah. I think more. Hold on. Yeah, so it's really something else. I feel like a lot of people like prefer open world games, and I understand the appeal of it, but I kind of also feel like you could really do a lot with just having more locked down areas. Oh, that's why I started with No Man's Sky, because when you look at No Man's Sky, the concept of exploring planets is a cool idea, but a planet is a huge place. Like, it's absolutely incredibly huge. Even if you have a tiny planet in terms of gameplay, where like you can walk around the entire thing in like 10 minutes or something, that's still a lot of like empty space. If it's like 10-20 minutes of walking around a planet, and then you populate a universe or a galaxy with like thousands of planets, it's like that's a lot of empty space. So I feel like rather than doing that, they could have done more with just like saying, okay, we're gonna make 4 different planets, or maybe 2 planets, and just like absolutely pack them with things, with how you do it. If you want to say, there's like villages, and like once you go up to the village gate, it just takes you to a world map or something, so you don't really have to spend the time like walking around pointlessly. There's a lot of different ways to do it, actually. Like even in systems like that, like old school RPGs, those were open world too. Metroid is an open world game. Like a lot of people don't know what open world really means, because it's used constantly for a lot of specific game types that don't really have anything to do with open worldness. GTA, Skyrim, Deus Ex, like the new ones, a lot of games are considered open world, and it's like it doesn't really matter. Like that's not everyone uses the words open world, but that's not really what they mean, I think. I guess they mean like it's non-linear, where you can just kind of go where you want and do what you want. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, that's a lot of games allow you to do that. Like even old games, like 30-year-old games, were open world. Like I mean, like they're like Dick Tracy for the NES, I think, was kind of an open world game. Like you had missions, but you had to kind of go to each individual location. River City Ransom was open world. I mean, it's kind of strange that like you hear this as kind of a buzzword, really modern thing, and it's like that's not really. Yeah, John Smith, Zelda 1. Yeah, that's an open world game. So there's a lot of people saying, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm missing what people mean when they say open world. I've been talking. Let's see, Matthew Kohler. Well, open world games are great, but more suitable. Are great, but are more suitable for MMO types. Of course, open is subject to interpretation. Deus Ex was linear but felt open. I haven't really played any of them. Not really. Let's see. Philippe Giroux, Pizza Guy? No, unfortunately. Wizard Hunter. Gearend is an open world game. Yeah, it kind of is an open world game, because it's just a normal Metroid-like, which means you can go where you want and do what you want, more or less. You have the goals, but no one's pressing you to do them immediately. You can take your time. Let's see, Matthew Kohler. Super Metroid feels linear, but it is open world. Yeah, that's also, I think, a good indication, or a good like. That's how you know it's a good Metroid-like. Of course, Metroid is going to be the ideal Metroid-like in certain respects, but like. Yeah, it feels linear. Like you can go anywhere, but it guides you. It should guide you in basically directions that you should go. Where it's like, okay, you need to go over here or you need to go over there. Like if it opens up too fast, then it kind of it's a balance you need to strike. Because if it opens too fast, then it ends up where you don't know where to go or what to do. But if it's like really linear, then it's not really a Metroid-like, because you don't have like backtracking. You don't have kind of a feeling of an open world. So it has to be kind of both. Matthew Kohler says there is a formal definition involving the organization of gameplay narrative elements. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Let's see. Wizard Hunter, Solar Loon. Why don't you just make a game demo and make it look awesome and put it on Kickstarter and just release the demo? Release the demo as the full product. I mean, the game's almost done though. Like, I mean, do you mean a different game or do you mean this? Because this is almost done. Like, I keep saying that. Like each time you see me on stream, I'm saying that again. But yeah, I am almost done. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see. X-Race Car release like 5% of the game on Steam to get greenlit. I mean, I got greenlit. I didn't have a demo, but I still got greenlit, and there's no Steam greenlight anymore, unfortunately, or fortunately. It depends on your view of the of that situation. But yeah, it's Steam Direct now, so we'll see about how that's gonna turn out. Wizard Hunter, a different one, of course, a different game. Okay, so release the demo of a different game as the full product. I'll see. The next game I make is gonna be much smaller, for sure. I'm almost positive. So hopefully, I'll just be able to make a smaller game in a shorter period of time, or a more what's the word? A more like early access kind of game that you can release over time and kind of get feedback and improve and have fun in the process. Wizard Hunter. I can't wait for Gearend microtransaction and DLC. Yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. Okay. Okay, that's probably good. Let's try it out, I guess. In the meantime, we can also get some music going. Different music. Wait a second. Yeah, okay. X-Race card. So did you use Sunbox to make the soundtrack? Yes, I did use Sunbox to make the soundtrack. It's a pretty good tracker. Really good. High quality. In my opinion. Got a crash. Whoa. Okay, that's strange. Let's see, why did it... Oh, okay, I have this off. Do. Okay. So, two problems are currently obvious. One, this is visible. Two, is solid. We don't want either of those. So, let's make it sensor, invisible, not ground. Export. Okay, that's better. What in the... Is he... He's like shaking up and down very slightly. I don't know why he's doing that. Let's see. Alright, so it does work, it just didn't work correctly. Alright, so... let's see. Detector not touching, and I guess it needs to do this. Alright, that might work. Alright. Oh, is this maybe the problem? Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, something's definitely not working correctly. Let's see. Okay, so what is the issue? Oh, okay, it must be something else. Alright. Make that invisible. Let's also ghost. Sorry. Oh, I didn't actually. That's right. I never filled this in. Okay, so we need to speed this. Okay, so. Okay, so what I'm doing here is setting up this character's everything for his cinematic. Let's see, SPR equals children.get mSPR ASE equals new asprite anim SPR 32 by 32 false true. Then we say ASCI load, and then ASCI play, jump. Okay, yeah, there's jump. Okay, components.add, ASCI, cool. Alright, so he should basically start a thing once you equip the part necessary and you're standing in this area. So we say, if we appear, we want to, let's see, we probably say spr.position, like somewhere like up here, 5, yeah. I guess move 0, 0, 5. So up here, we say spr.visible, true, and then we oh, actually, I guess we need to do it like this. It needs to be visible. Let's see. Alright. I'm trying to remember exactly how I want to do this. I don't actually have a flag function. Okay, well that makes it simple, I guess. So you see what I'm doing here. This is basically I'm writing cinematics over the time I've been making the game. I've written different cinematics, and this is all done in like a custom kind of pseudo scripting language. And this is like one of the things I would love to not do. Like I started it, it was fine when I started. I thought, you know, oh, this is really a eloquent and efficient solution, but this is, I would really love to do this like using Java or whatever programming language I use for the game, because it's like you have to parse it, you have to add functions yourself, even basic things like stream formatting I have to like do myself if I want anything special. Like it's just like this entire thing is just like bubblegum. It works okay. It's not buggy, but it's like it is not easy to actually extend or work with. Not really. You see how much code right here is just like checking each function, checking each argument for just like basic things, like just absolutely basic stuff. Like this system has no idea about variables, it has no idea about you know, anything. So like I have to code in special stuff. Like, I mean, it's I would love to do this again. I would really love to like remake this entire cinematic system with a more code-based approach, without using all of these like strings and things. All right. Anyway. Okay. So there's So message flag. Okay. Over here we say else if message dot equals flag syscon dot flags. Okay, so we say if syscon.flags.get infound is greater than 0. If syscon.flags.get infound. Okay. Let's see. Found, then we say interact times plus plus, and also str.visible true. Okay. All right, this is better and better. Let's see. Actually, I need a diff. Okay. Alright, so the idea behind this is that he'll fall from the ceiling like this. Let's see. Philippe Giral, 11 p.m. here in Brazil already. Have to go to sleep. Keep up the good work, Solar Moon. Bye, guys. Thank you. And yeah, thank you very much for joining the stream. It's been fun. Always fun to have people in the stream watching my progress. So yeah, maybe after this I'll play something. Maybe after this I'll play something on stream. So we'll see about getting this particular character up and well, actually. Oh, I might have something to do. Never mind. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's just get this up and running first. So let's see. We have that is falling. So we'll move on that. Length is greater than 0.1f. F. No, 0.1f. Else. Oh, whoops. Else. Where that? Position. Okay. So I think that should be good. Oh, I think actually I need to re-export though. There we go. Oh, what happened? Oh, I get it, okay. 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 Not bad. So, there's a couple of problems here. Firstly, and then second, I didn't need to actually do that part. Secondly, let's see. Yeah, so the problem is that basically it was constantly triggering the cinematic. We don't really need that. We only need it to trigger like once, and then once it triggers, it doesn't need to do it again, because at that point he exists, and you can just walk up to him normally. Walk up to him normally. Okay, let's see. Okay, so margin. All right, that should be good. Export that. I don't know why he's like shaking like that. I'll have to figure that out, because that's definitely not correct. Alright, so that actually works. We want him to fall a little bit faster than that. And we also kind of want to change up a little bit how this works. Let's see. Let's see. Matthew Kohler. So BDX is a Blender game engine. Interesting. Yeah, kind of. It's not the Blender game engine, but it is like it is a game engine that works with Blender. And it's like super integrated. So it's not the Blender game engine, because there is a Blender game engine, but it is a game engine that works in Blender. Okay. So you fall, and then you're good to go. Oops. A Blender game engine, right? It is a Blender game engine. I don't know why this music is doing this. I think it's just like my computer's using the course to do different things. Okay, that's basically it. But he just got to be more on the on the mark. Let's see. There we go. But yeah, please feel free to explain also. I mean, not explain. Please feel free to ask questions if you have any. Bozola says, "Hey man, nice stream. Thank you. I'm curious, did you design the game world on paper before you started making it?" No, but I did have like a moment where I started drawing things on grid paper. I was seriously considering like buying grid paper from like Amazon, and then I realized that grid paper is just normal paper that has a grid on it. So I just printed grid paper. Like I was like, oh, how much is grid paper? That's pretty cheap. And I'm like, wait a second, I can just print grid paper. And then I started kind of sketching out like the general shapes of the worlds and how they kind of interlock, just to get the idea of like where the parts should go, where the items should go. Different things like that, but I didn't really design it fully and plan it out. But yeah, it's okay. Matthew Kohler, right? Let's see. Starting to get into implementing gigavoxels and cone casting, and there are a number of variants to learn from. Okay. quite a lot to, yeah, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn when you're talking about like game engine development or graphics programming. There's just so much out there, so many different techniques and things to apply and implement and all that stuff. Whew. Fortunately, game engines exist so that we don't have to do everything ourselves. Mariko Junrei, an hour late to the stream, but once again, a legend among us common men graces us with yet another stream. How's it going, Loon? Please, not even, man. I'm not a legend at all. But yeah, everything's going okay. Everything's going pretty well. Matthew Kohler, it's crazy. Everyone comes up with something new when they do their own. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it really is like a, you know, people, okay, that, alright, that's correct, yeah. Okay. Alright. And then also we want to, let's see, spawn smoke. Okay, I can't do that. So right around here we say for an I equals 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus, spawn smoke 0.25F. Actually, I guess that's okay. Captain Boomerang, really appreciate all your hard work. The game looks amazing. Thank you. Do you do this full time? Basically, yeah. If not, how do you balance work with development? I do this full time. Currently, I'm just like trying to finish this up so I can sell it. I really wanted to get this done by today and get it up on itch just so I could kind of like get some feedback and get some you know, get some income going, kind of, you know, get things going and kind of do a soft launch in a sense. But yeah, if you do work, then it is possible to balance it with development. You just have to spend a couple of minutes a day, you know, 30 minutes, whatever you can, developing. Like, just do a little bit a day and you know, keep going. Like, don't stop even if you have a full-time job and you know you don't feel like working all the time. That's natural. You don't feel like working and then coming home and working a little bit more, but at the same time, if you do want to make games for a living or just want to make games in general, it takes time. That's just the way it is. Okay, that's not bad. I want the smoke to be in front of him though. Okay, I'm gonna do something about this. I don't know what exactly, but I'm gonna do something about it. Let's see. Oh, this is kind of, yeah, this is good. Alright, so we want to move it in front of the camera. We also want it to be a little, yeah, like that, and then actually, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna adjust this a little bit so that it repeats a little more evenly. There we go. Actually, let's also make it so that he plays a talking animation when he's talking. Let's see if that's weird. If sys kinda in cinematic. Yeah, okay, he's gonna talk. Let's see. Oops. Move his eye over. Okay. Oh man, I just now realized I probably could play some music from the game. Of course. Like, it never really dawned on me, like, I could just play music from the game. Yeah, that's not bad, but he's talking constantly. So let's see if we want actually a message. Wait, that message. No. Message wouldn't die. Message that. Matthew Kohler, did you do your own sound design? Yes. All the sound, all the music, all the art, all the programming, everything myself. Matthew Kohler, if so, what are you using to sequence the MIDI sounding stuff? I'm not sure what you mean by MIDI sounding stuff. You mean like the music? I use Sunbox. So these are the strings, the violins. These are other strings. And then things change a little bit. But, like, you know, this is basically, yeah. I use this program for all my music stuff. And, yes, that's on Linux. It's on, like, Windows, Mac, Linux, Pocket PC, Android, iPhone. It's on a lot of platforms. That's one of the reasons why I like it so much. Is just, like, it's everywhere. So, like, if I transfer to a tablet that's running BEOS 2 or something, like, I don't know what operating system Sunbox probably will run on it. There's a, yeah, like Raspberry Pi, there's a version of, like, there's a lot of different versions. A lot of different available platforms. Bozola, another question. Oh, well, yeah, Bozola, another question. What kind of stuff have you done for marketing for your game? It's just crazy hard to get any attention, it seems. I haven't done too much marketing yet, apart from just devlog videos. I post on TIG forums. I post on Twitter. I've YouTube videos, YouTube streams. But, like, in terms of marketing, I have yet to actually market to, well, and Steam Greenlight. Put it on Steam, so there's, like, people who have wishlisted it are gonna be notified once it's out there. But, like, when it comes to actually marketing the game, I plan to go forward with a small list of YouTubers and streamers that I like. Oh man, I should add somebody actually. I doubt he'll play it, but I would love to see Youngtown play it. But yeah, there's various people I would like to see. Play the game and give reviews or just let's plays or whatever the case, whatever they can. I feel like that combined with maybe like contacting PC Gamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, Polygon, places like that for reviews, like all together, I should be able to get a pretty good amount of attention. IndieGames.com. I feel like I should be able to get an okay amount of attention. And then also my own, obviously my own community that I've kind of accrued over the past like 4 years of people on YouTube and Twitter. Altogether, that's like 7,000 to 9,000 people. So that's a start. Like that might be enough to like push it up on Steam when on release. Push it up on itch on release. Like my plan is kind of like put it on itch and get people who are interested and kind of get feedback, improve the game, different things like that. And then when I launch on Steam, hopefully if the game's good, people will give good reviews, and that will give a nice like kind of first like jump to the people who play it on Steam. So you have like, it'll launch with a good amount of good reviews. Hopefully, we'll see. Even though that doesn't really like, they changed the review mechanic, so like if the reviews are given, if the reviews are reported on accounts that got the game for free, then those are by default like not fed into the like positive or negative review like baseline. But still, it would be nice to start, you know, put it out there on Steam and instantly have 20 reviews or 10 reviews or whatever amount of reviews that are all good, or a good amount of are good. Hopefully, we'll see if the game's good, and I can get people who are, you know, active Steam players who would like to review it, and just give a couple of good reviews. That'd be great. So that's kind of my idea, is just kind of go and approach it softly, smoothly, and just kind of like leapfrog my way in a sense. Matthew Kohler, where did you learn composition? I didn't really learn composition from anywhere in particular. As a whole, I learned a little bit from my brother. My oldest brother, or my middle brother, he's like a really great musician. Like he's really great, and he taught me stuff. You know, he teaches me stuff all the time that I forget about, like passing chords, and like, you know, these chords go together and these chords work. So like, and over the years I've been doing this. I've been making music for like, I don't even know, maybe 10 years, and like the jump in quality is crazy, because it's like, even with this like little free program, I'm getting better and better. Like my sounds are getting better, the melodies are getting better, the chords are getting better, the feeling is getting better. It's just like I just get better and better over time. So really, I would say practice is the most important thing, more than anything else. Like no matter what you use, you got to put practice in. Don't, you know, I mean, because the thing about this is that because like Sunbox isn't like that advanced, you don't have stuff like VSTs and things, and I'm not big on like using people's pre-made like Sunbox instruments, so I make most things myself. So like, you learn like, oh, this reverb is too thick, you know, I need to make it lighter, I need to change the room size, or it's fine the way it is, you know, default's fine, whatever. So like, learning that stuff is really helpful when it comes to making music, rather than just being like, oh, I got a VST, you know, I just read Maruku Junrei's comment. When you rewatch this stream, this is like your epic speech moment with the music and everything. I didn't mean to time it like that, but I guess it kind of turned out that way. But yeah, like when you make your instruments yourself, when you at least like know, when you don't rely on professional sounds and things to make a professional sound, then you understand a little bit more about like why stuff works. You know, why certain instruments work, why a reverb, you know, sound, when a reverb helps out, when it makes things cloudy or muddy, you know, how much is too much, etc., to kind of grow your knowledge when it comes to music creation. So yeah, just practice. Like I would say, like, you know, that would be cool. Matthew Kohler, I like it. Thank you. Of course, you could always stand to adopt some of the sound textures of the likes of Kaplecki and Brandon. I don't know who either / that person is, or that group or entity. I'll have to look them up. Kaplecki and Brandon. Okay, I'm gonna write that down real quick. Excuse me. Yeah, like I'll play something like super old. I'll play like one of my first tracks. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find my like first song ever in Sunbox. Okay, I think this is like one of the oldest ones. I think this is like one of the oldest ones. Not the oldest, but old, still pretty old. I'm gonna kick up the desktop volume real quick. Yeah, so like all of these songs, this was actually, these day songs were for a game where you were shipwrecked. This was actually pretty good. It's not bad. Yeah, like all of these. Yeah, all of these are like really old, like this old kind of music. I got better, but like by a long shot. But like these weren't great, but they weren't horrible. It's kind of interesting. I used Reason before this, and I started using this for some reason. I guess I just wanted something different, and I just liked this program. And so like my early stuff. Like my old stuff, like it's not bad, but it's not bad. I'm just like there's stuff going on in the chat, and like I can't even respond to everything at this stage. I'll try. Okay, so Kopleki made Command and Conquer soundtracks. I heard that they like those soundtracks were like really good, so I have to look them up. Brandon did original Deus Ex and System Shock 2 soundtracks. Okay. Captain Boomerang, unrelated, but do you play any instruments? I used to play drums. When I was a kid, I played drums for maybe just like a year. I fell off, and then I gave them away maybe last year, so I stopped playing them for like 10 years, but I kept making music for pretty much all that time. And so I still have like some knowledge of drum like theory, of like beat theory and stuff that I think helps out a lot, even though I don't like play drums. I'm not good with drums anymore. Bazola says, sounds pretty solid. I hope that the big outfits do a review for you. Thank you. I hope so too. Hopefully somebody will cover it. I think it's a pretty cool looking game. I feel like somebody could write about it a little bit. With Matthew Kohler, very much giants of electronic PC game music. Okay, they know how to use electronic colors of sound to fill an idea space and summon the perfect feel. Let's see. Tony Powell. Yo Solar, good to catch you on the stream again, my friend. Hi, hello, and thank you for stopping by. So that was like some old stuff. This is, you've heard this, but like in comparison, this is such a much more strong track. It's louder, it's heavier, it's cool to see like have your old stuff and listen to your new stuff. So like overall, like it's just way stronger. Like beats, way stronger instruments, way wider. It's just I've gotten so much better. Even like my game, like video gamey, like hardcore video game stuff. Like let's see. I'm trying to see like this one is like pretty solid. So like each like it's cool. It's cool to come by and like make music and things. Again, like people are just saying different things. Matthew Kohler says that there's a sample in that one that isn't agreeing with him. So I'll have to listen. Nothing sounds out of the ordinary for me, but maybe I'm just used to it. We'll see. Maybe, hopefully, nothing that's too bad is in any of Gearend's songs where it's like, oh man, this particular part is horrible. I'll keep an ear out for that. And it's also interesting because like over time you start making different kinds of music than you would usually make. So like this is like kind of an Earthboundish kind of file selected theme. I was like really going for a very strong feel with Earthbound. Right, so that's a little bit different. Like I don't usually make this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that's not really something I would usually go with. That's very kind of off kilter sound. But I like that. Like I like having, making different songs, different kinds of songs anyway. So anyway, yeah, so really like keep it up, practice. Try different things. Don't just stick to one kind of song, I would say, as well. Okay, let's get back to it. Oh, whoops. Okay, so at this point, so this should be pretty solid, I think. I thought I fixed that. Yeah, I think that might actually do it. Okay. Alright. Cool. So, I think this is working. Alright, that should be solid. So the idea is that basically this is kind of a challenge. That's what this entire thing is working toward. And at a certain point you're going to at a certain point you're going to have like you're gonna have to carry this little dude all the way back to his sister. It's completely optional. You don't have to do it, but that's the idea of this challenge. So I'm trying to figure out exactly like how to do this then at this point. So I'm trying to see, do I need it even? I guess I could do it like that, yeah. Yeah, he's such a little, like, he's just a little jerk. Like, that's the idea behind this character. He's just a little jerk. More or less. So what I'm gonna have to do is probably add... I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Alright. Alright, so the idea, I think I should be able to do this pretty easily. Maybe? Let's see. Did it do it? I don't know if it did. Let's see. Ah, it's supposed to be over there. Okay. So what I'm doing is just adding this like little sprite that I think I can use to the game, to each zone, so that I can like add this little sprite in, and it should be behind the player. I think it'll work. I'm trying to figure out if I can get it to work correctly. Final zone. So, yeah. Oh, actually, it's the same. Okay, cool, it does. Alright, that's very nice. Cool, alright. So, comm zone got it, final zone got it, hub zone needs it. There he is. And then also, done, ruin zone needs it. There he is. Okay, that should be it. So like this system that I have of like adding these objects in is super slow. This is completely like because of how I built the game. Like originally the entire game was in a single blend file, but then I split it up so that it wouldn't take so long, because it was like multiple scenes, like the ruin zone, the water zone, like each zone was a scene in this blend file, in a single blend file. But then over time, I made the ability to split it out into multiple blend files, which helped out a lot, but like all of the objects are basically local to each blend file. But fortunately, I was nearly done when I did it, so it's not a huge deal. But like next time, I think I would have a much easier time to do this, and a much easier. I should have a much better way to do it. So let's go back to the water zone real quick, because now we need to actually test this out. Export data. So once it does this, we have to do a couple of things here. Let's go to the player. I don't know why it does that. I mean, I know why it does that, but it's still annoying. Okay, core part. So each part can have this like character. Like the character. Let me think. The character is attached to the core, and like rather than adding code to the player, it feels better. No, wait. I guess it's better to have it on the player because you can switch core parts. That's right. Okay. This is going to be the okay. Let me also do this. I need to determine how does this work. Load. So the game state is saved in between rooms. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how it actually works when you go from room to room. Like, I think I saved the game to a temporary file and then load it back from that file, if I recall. Yeah, okay, so I do save it, and I set the scene, and then read the player info. Okay, and okay, there we go. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so what I would like to do, let me see, is I'd like to make this a single run thing where you have to do it in a single run. Like, you can't save the game as you go through, because I feel like that would just make it a little trivial. So how exactly am I going to do this? Save player info. Right, player info. So yeah, if it's to a temporary file, okay, yeah. So okay, so yeah, if it's temporary, then we don't want to save it. All right. Well, anyway, let me get back to what I'm doing. All right. So in NPC attached. I guess I'll just call it im attached, and then where is okay. So if message that equals attach, we want to say interactable or can be interacted with equals false, str.visible equals false, player syscon.player. I guess I'll just have like a function for this. That seems like it could work. All right. So let's see. Actually, I guess that's fine. Okay. So over here we say player dot attach im. We're gonna make a function for this. Object g equals scene.add. What is it? This g.position g.parent this g.move. We want to move them behind the player. That might work. Oh, snap, I forgot. Okay. Actually, attached. Im attached, yeah. Alright, so we'll see if this works. I feel like it might. That's like the most I can do is I feel like it might work. Why is he down there? What in the world? Why is he there? What in the world? Where did he come from? Oh, he must be... Oh, he's grouped. Yeah, okay. He's not supposed to be grouped. Alright. Is he grouped anything else? No, okay. I never read this. Matthew Kohler. Okay, you're talking about the Mario dropping into the sea over and over again. It's the drop. Yeah, the drop is like the little water drop in that song was supposed to be kind of like an island theme. So it might need to be deeper to give the kind of feel of like a calypso kind of thing. Let's see. Your favorite old console was Sega Genesis. It's interesting because like I never liked the Sega Genesis music chip FM, but I like it now. Like I like FM synth. I still think like SNES had better music overall just because it had stronger sample power, but like it was still like I feel like there's definitely. Did I not fix this? That's weird. I feel like there's definitely something to be gained from FM synthesis. Like it gives such a unique sound. Did I not export? Okay, see, I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Oh, Maruku Junrei says, high risk, high reward. If it's optional, I always say. Yeah, that's the idea, is basically high risk, high reward. I really should have named this thing something else. Let's see. Oh, he's parented. Okay, we don't want him to be parented. And is he parented anywhere else, or is it only here? Okay, we should be good. James Rogers. Hello there, my dude. Hi, James. How you feeling? Alright. Come on. Computer's like chugging, but still managing to keep everything running pretty well. Alright, so that's basically the idea. But that's not nearly that. Like, that's not. That's not quite correct. I think I need an actual sprite for him to be hanging on. Like, he needs to be like here, and he's too big still. He was bigger and I made him smaller, but he's still huge. He needs to be tiny in order to actually fit on your robot. Like, there's just no way you can really carry this dude. He's too big. All right. So that's something I'll need to also do is make him considerably smaller. Maruku Junrei. Loon, he's a robot. He has that robo strength. He's robo strong. Yeah, that's true. I guess I could just like leave him at this current size. Like, I also kind of like this pudgier, smaller looking guy. Oh, whoops. Let's see, I gotta... Okay. There we go. Okay, let's see. I don't even use this frame. That's fine. Oh, whoops. James Rogers. Any reason you use BDX instead of Unity or other stuff? Maybe because it's free and what you know. I know this is basically the same question as I asked last stream with Sunvox, but I'm curious. Also, do you feel streaming game development gives you more of an insensitive to get things done? I guess more of a pressure to get things done. I think so. I think streaming does, like, you get distracted more when you're, communicating with chat, but at the same time, you also, what's in here? Okay. You also spend more time, like, actually, like, working on different things and, trying to get things done and get things interesting and leave off at a good point. Like, I don't really care if I leave off at a good point if I'm by myself, but if I'm on stream, like, I want to make sure I get, like, a good amount of work done. So I think it does. Actually, let's do it like this. Oh, let's see. Mario Junrei. Every movie you make, every step you take, we'll be watching. Classic song. Yeah, I also use BDX. Like, I just prefer BDX because it's open source. That's really important. It's really, like, not concerned with, that's cool. It's really not concerned with, like, being a full game engine. Like, when you look at Unity or Godot or Unreal, like, there's so much code to make it work. There's so much code. I don't know, maybe they work they're based on existing technologies. Maybe they use, like, under the hood they use, some stuff where they don't, like, do everything themselves. But it feels like if they do everything themselves, it's a huge, absurd amount of code. And that's important because the more code that's in any project and program, the more it takes to run. The longer it takes to run, the longer it takes to launch, the longer it takes to spawn processes like, testing your game. So if you have something that basically doesn't do anything, it's going to be less code. And it's going to run faster, generally. It's going to be nicer. So, like, BDX, even though it's not as much to it in terms of the core game engine, like, it doesn't have armature support, it doesn't have shadows, it doesn't have a lot of stuff built in. The idea that, like, Blender does all of the editor stuff for you, and your code editor does all the stuff, for your code editor. So all that's in the engine code for BDX is just for running your game. Like, that's important. That's good. That's good to me, because that means that, unlike, Godot, where it's like, oh, they have to add something to their code editor to make so that it's easier to code. Like, they have to add things like in the code editor, they have to add, IntelliSense, they have to add autocomplete, they have to add syntax edit, highlighting, they have to fix bugs that are related to those things. But when you say, okay, well, here's an engine that's completely separated from existing programs, and that it basically relies on other existing programs to fill the needs that it itself doesn't need to fill, now all of the game engine has to do is just be efficient and give you the options that you need to, and provide things that are too much work to do yourself. So, like, I guess I like the idea that BDX is just, like, fundamentally completely about just a running game engine. It doesn't really, it's not about Blender. The code base is just like completely focused on getting data out of Blender and loading that into the game engine. It doesn't do anything with code editors. It doesn't do anything with sprite editors. It doesn't do anything with anything like that. It's all about just basically the core engine. So I like that. I like that mechanic. That being said, it is a 3D engine. So for a 2D game like Gearend, it might not have been the best choice in certain respects because with a fully 2D engine, you don't have to worry about so many things about draw orders, and transparencies wouldn't be so big of a deal per se. But on the flip side, I mean, fundamentally the technology is the same basically either way. You're going to be using OpenGL, you're going to be drawing quads to the screen, so it's not a huge difference. I guess when it comes to like how difficult things are, you're basically going to be running into the same kinds of issues. So I guess it's not really a huge deal either way. Let's see. Lucretius says everyone should just use the engine that they like. I'm using BDX now because I like it. However, I'm slowly regretting it, but that's neither here nor there. Well, that's interesting. And yeah, people should use the engine that they like. I feel like it's kind of hard to get an objective view of a game engine, especially because you spend so much time making games, or you spend so much time making a game. So it's really hard to be like, oh yeah, this is a good engine. It's like, even people who use Unity, every day, all day, a lot of people don't like it, surprisingly, because of, this issue or that issue, or, it bogs you down because of this, or it doesn't work because of that, or in this situation. So it's like, it's hard to really get like a objective and kind of unilateral solution when it comes to game engines, because there's so many options out there and they all work in such different ways that it's like, how do you really say like, oh, this is a good engine, that is not a good engine? Like, how do you say that? How do you determine that it is or isn't a good engine? Is it just about like how easy it is for you to implement small changes, or is it about is it about just like how easy it is for you to implement small changes, or is it about how easy it is for you to bug fix, or is it whether it's open source? Like there's a lot of factors that come into play when it comes to game engines. I thought I copied the hand right. Did I not copy this one? James Rogers, awesome. I'm totally not for software elitism. Yeah, me neither. There's so many options out there, and it's really great because when I was a kid, you didn't really have that many options at all for game engines. Oh, I didn't do that right. You really didn't have that many options at all for game engines. Like you had like Torque, you had like Torque, you had like Reality Factory or Genesis 3D. You had like, there we go. Yeah, cool. You had Torque, you had like Reality Factory, you had Genesis 3D. That was like kind of it when I was a kid. Like there was really not, Flash was kind of big. But there was not really that many options when it came to making games. So yeah, it's really a shame to kind of get the feeling like, oh, you should just use this. If you want to use this, use that. If you're gonna, like there's so many options out there. It'd be a shame to just like lock it down to just one option. And that's something you see on the internet too. A lot of people say like, oh, you should use Unity or you should use Unreal, and it's like it doesn't really matter that much. Visier says, if you're gonna make a 2D game, use Unity. If you're gonna go 3D, you have a few more options. The other options are niche and don't really have the backing of huge communities like you can go on. See, that's the thing. If you're good as a developer, if you're like really experienced, it really doesn't matter which engine you choose. I remember like I spoke about like using kind of picking an engine that like has a great community or has a big community. But if you're experienced, then you are the community. Like you figure it out. That's kind of, you know, where it is. Yeah, okay. Ovisior says, oh yeah, I'm definitely talking as a new developer. Okay, yeah. So like, yeah, if you're a new developer, you know, if you want to just use Unity or Game Maker because they're easy or there's tutorials, yeah, sure, you know, go ahead. There's a lot of options that have tutorials. You might want to pay attention to those specifically. But if you're just like someone who actually like can code in, you know, a normal language, like there's no reason for someone who's experienced in Java or Lua or Python and looking to make a 2D game on desktop, why they should have to jump to Unity or why they should have to jump to Game Maker. It's like there's options in those languages to make games in the number of dimensions you're looking for. like there's no reason to just say, you know, oh, these are the solution for your problem of, you know, how to make games. Like these are perfect. And it's like, well, you know, those are options. Those are options just like any other. But we don't want to. I don't think it's right to get into the kind of mindset like these are the solutions or these are the correct choices to make when it comes to making games because they're ubiquitous. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but like because they're so popular, because, you know, they've been tested, battle tested, all that stuff. Okay. Oh, what? How did this shift? Oh, I added. Did I add a? I didn't add any frames. Oh, I did. I deleted a frame. Okay, that might be part of it. All right. Well, 11. 11 times 32. That's 320 plus 32. That's 352. I was off. Off by 1. Okay. Alright, so I'll have to adjust the rest. I probably will need an actual frame for this. Let's see. James Rogers. Personally, I use Unity because that's what I started with in college, but I'll learn Unreal when I'm in university in August. Student game developer here. And Gabe Tobias says, honestly, if you're an experienced developer, there's nothing strapping you down to a game engine, period. Yeah. And that's kind of the interesting thing is like people who say like, oh, you should just you use Unity because it saves you so much time or, you know, whatever. I kind of feel like it doesn't really. I feel like it saves time for people who aren't like, if you don't know how to make a game in Lua and love 2D or Python and Pygame, then yeah, it's going to be slower than if you use Unity. But I feel like if you ask a Unity user and ask like a Pygame user, like, you know, people who are just experienced with both, you know, with their respective technologies, like, hey, make a Tetris clone in a day. Like, they'll have the same amount of work done at the end of the day. I feel like it's not like the Python guy will be like just setting up arrays and just like getting the concepts down, and the Unity guy will be like completely done with Tetris in a day. Like, it's, you know, a 5,000% speed up. It's like, no, I feel like if you're experienced with whatever tool you have, you're gonna be just as good in it, and you're gonna have the same, like, you know, maybe a slight speed, you know, slowdown, maybe, but when you think about, but maybe not. I mean, because when you're experienced with it, you probably have the tools that you need to effectively have an engine. So you already have tiled for your map editor or whatever map editor you have or use. You already know how to import it into your Pygame project or Love 2D project, and how to set up collisions or whatever. Like, you're already there. So I kind of feel like you won't really be losing too much time, actually. Excuse me. Ovisier says, I made a game in Duality a few months back, and it's essentially a full engine. I still had difficulty with things like animations and had to implement my own system. It was a nice learning experience, but the bugs wouldn't make it worth it for me. Yeah, so I mean, like, you know, that's why I kind of like want like open source. Why I like open source stuff, because it's like if I find a bug in Unity, I just have to wait. That's just what it boils down to. I have to wait. Even if the source code was available, like in order to actually jump in and fix something, like that's a huge undertaking when you have a huge engine. So it's like, James Rogers says there's the dev who's making uses a Java IDE and OpenGL, and he's making a fully fledged 3D low poly game, and it looks amazing. It's called Equilinox. I'm gonna have to look that up. Oh yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna put it on full screen here. That looks pretty good, yeah. I mean, that's, you know, what you would expect to see out of like Unity or something like that. I mean, not Unreal because it doesn't have the shaders on it. That Unreal usually like comes with stock like bloom and, you know, vignette over the edge of the screen and like chromatic aberration and stuff. And it's not first person. Like, I mean, like that's this kind of stuff you would expect to see. But like that definitely looks like a standard like Unity game. Like it looks fine. It looks completely good. Cool. That's very cool. I'm gonna have to follow this dude. Lucretius, how do you deal with GC Solar Loon? It's part of the reason I regret going with Java. It's really difficult to write optimizations unless I pass by value all the time, which is not possible with objects. I don't currently do anything special for garbage collection. Garbage collection in Java, like as far as I understand it, it's kind of healthy to have garbage collection that looks like this, or rather not like that, like this, where the memory is allocated and then it drops when the garbage is collected. And I don't see any particular like pauses or anything while that happens, so it's not a huge deal to me. But if it is a problem with you, Lucretius, you can, I'm sure you already know, but if you check the profiler, I think you can see like what are, I guess, the heaviest objects being allocated, as well as what how often they're allocated. So if it's like, oh, I'm allocating 1 billion vectors every frame, well then you can go ahead and, you know, we can look into kind of like making a temporary vector solution, or maybe pooling vectors or pooling objects. You know, like there's things we could do to kind of like, you know, mitigate some of the problems that come from allocating and freeing memory for objects. So we have to, you know, it's not as easy as just like, you know, Unity or something where it's like it's already, you know, efficient at this point. But at the same time, it shouldn't be impossible to have a solid Java game engine or a solid Java game that's just, you know, not bad with GC. So Lucretius, if you have any like, if you can see like where problems are, if you can like spot them, then you could, you know, post about it in our BDX or on the GitHub, and we could definitely look into it. Like, I haven't seen any like major issues with garbage collection or with pauses, but that's something that we could definitely look into. Let's see. Ovisior says, I'm interested in seeing how Microsoft reacts to Project Writer, which is essentially an IDE with ReSharper integrated, basically a C# version of IDEA. Yeah, that sounds good. It doesn't seem like there's any IDEs, like really popular IDEs for C# yet, which is kind of interesting. Strange. I guess Mono developed is one, but I was thinking more like other ones, because I think that one is like kind of what you use for Unity or with Unity, a common one. But I would have assumed like JetBrains would have one. There'd be a couple of other ones out there. Maybe there's some and I just don't know about. Matthew Kohler says, I use plain C and I already have a simple engine in ray tracing. Oh snap, dude, he's doing it. It was pure C. Oh snap. Okay, that's great, dude. That's great. C, plain C, and yeah, a ray tracer and okay, ray tracer. Really? Wow, that's great. That's something else, yeah. So like, yeah, like I feel like you can definitely make a game with a framework. Nah, that's trash. You could definitely make a game like using a framework and like still have no problems with when it comes to speed, I feel like. It's just about like being willing to kind of have a non-standard approach to things, I guess you could say. I didn't mean to put that there. I meant to put that there. No, that doesn't look very good. I could do that though. All right. I'm basically done. I need to probably make a grabbing sprite for this dude so he can latch onto your back. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Let's them up. That doesn't really look very good. We'll keep it normal. Okay. Let's see. Lucretius, it's completely possible to make a good game with GC, and it's fine with me. And then the pause for me is like 3 frames, and that's too noticeable for me. Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't noticed the pauses, so it's possible that it's just my computer's strong enough where, you know, it doesn't get paused, which is bad because that means that it's going to be a problem for people who don't have strong PCs. Or it's possible that maybe you're just doing something that like allocates a lot to GC. And like I said, if you can kind of like peg it down, like to see what exactly you know, might be the issue, like that would be great, because I would like a more efficient engine to force as well. Lucretius, apparently Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 was made in assembly. Yeah, I think I heard something to that effect, which is insane. But that kind of shows like he didn't take 10 years to make that game. And that's crazy because like everyone made games in assembly. Well, I don't know about that, but like making games in assembly was common, I would assume, back when people didn't have engines, and you know, you were targeting really high, really low-end technology, really low-end target platforms. So I mean, you know, it's not like writing an assembly was like something nobody did. So why doesn't it take like 10 years to do that? That's because I think it's not really about the tool. Not too much. Lucretius, I know it's GC and Gearend. I think it just might be the back. It's much less powerful than my PC. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I mean, there's still some things that we could do to, like, we're not really paying too much attention to get garbage collection in Gearend. Sorry, garbage collection in BDX. So that's something we could definitely, like, kind of try to avoid. I just haven't really checked or seen too much on it because I'm, you know, using a powerful computer, and that's just what I'm using. So, like, if I were to pay more attention to garbage collection, I would probably get some better results. When it comes to like allocating memory and stuff, because like I think we could do like temporary vectors, especially when we do like some simple mathematics. Let me see what we got here. But yeah, I think we do like some pretty simple mathematics sometimes. Let's see. Let's see. Trying to see if there's any places where we like make new vectors where we really don't need to make new vectors. Here we kind of do, I think. So yeah, there might be some places where we like could make better kind of setups. Yeah. I feel like there might be a couple of places where we can kind of clean things up and use less vectors, because vectors are so like, you use them all the time, obviously, in 3D graphics and things like that. So it's like, you know, if anything's going to be heavy, it's going to be like maybe arrays. You're going to use them a lot. Vectors, you're going to use them a lot. So like, it might be worth it to look into like trying to lower the rate that memory is consumed in the base engine, if the engine is like really kind of grinding through it. Matthew Kohler, let's see. I used a third-party GUI object lib and did a data-oriented approach. That's something I want to look into a little bit. Is data-oriented approaches. I have yet to like really see a good like really do data-oriented approach to things. Like I guess you mean like having like, you know, player.json and you just like list his properties in there or something to that effect. Like that's something I kind of want to learn a little bit more about. There's a lot of different ways to make games. Like even like that is different from the kind of old school object-oriented approach, which is different from entity component system / entity component system. Like the entity component system, like that system is different, where each entity has its own component and they all do different things. So it's like, you know, it's interesting because you have all these different systems, but fundamentally you see they don't really save that much time. Like they change how you do things and kind of make things simpler in certain respects, but you still take time. Basically the same amount of time making games. Let's see. Lucretius, have you looked at Jai? It looks great so far. Yeah, I've been following John Blow's streams. I don't know where he streams. I've seen his stuff on YouTube, his streams, as he's uploaded them later to YouTube. I've been watching them, you know, here and there. And like it's cool to see like a straight up just coding language made for games, because I feel like that's really, like, I don't think we need the speed for most titles, but I do think that a lot of things in games, like you want specific tools for specific use cases, and I feel like video games have a very different use case than security software or networking software or social media software or anything like that. There's just a lot of like I feel like a coding language specifically made for games, to make an engine or a framework specifically made for games, it will be just like a really nice tool. I think I'm following it. I'm kind of excited to check it out and try it. It also looks like it's not too, like, I like the language, as he's still working on syntax and stuff, but I like kind of how it looks. There's languages I look at and I'm like, man, I just don't like it. Like, I can't remember which one. I was looking at just a couple of, like, yesterday. It was, it wasn't Rust. It wasn't D. It was... Man, I can almost catch it. But yeah, I almost can remember. I can't remember quite though. But I just didn't like the way the language worked. Nim. It was Nim, I guess. And it's like, yeah, I need something with, like, if I'm gonna have classes, I need to have like a very simple class function or tool to just like, here you go. So I don't know. I have to see how Jai turns out. I'm excited. It looks cool, but yeah. Bozola says you've got access to all the libgdx stuff, right? To reduce GC, you can just use object pooling for vectors or other frequently created objects, and then use the libgdx collections when looping. Yeah, that's true. That's something we haven't done yet, but we could definitely do that for our vectors, because our vectors are based on I think the vector math, Java X vector math ones, which are slightly stronger in certain respects. Like they kind of give more options and things, so it's nice to have that. But yeah, pooling probably would be good when it comes to vectors, when it comes to a lot of stuff. So anyway, yeah, that's something we probably could look into. Try to make some headway on. Maybe even do it in a way that doesn't disturb how it currently works. If we kind of like bake it into the classes themselves, I'm not sure if that'll work. Where like making a new vector will give you a pooled one if it does exist, and kind of stuff like that. We'll see. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to end the stream here. It seems like this is working okay. I still have to kind of... Still gotta kind of have to get this squared away. Hopefully I'll be able to get it hopefully I'll be able to get it done pretty quickly. Oh, that kind of works. What sprite is that, though? Is that his blink sprite? What? It's this one. Okay. Yeah, he's supposed to have that one. Alright, I was wondering, like, why is he, like... what animation is that? What's the sprite? Okay, so I'm probably gonna maybe have this animation, but with his hands up, maybe like that. A little lower on Epsilon's back. Yeah, okay. This is pretty good. So a lot of the time I've been spending, a little bit of the time I've been spending on polishing has been on, okay, the little boy passes behind the door. We're gonna fix that right now. Just push him back just a tad. He also needs to face the same direction. But a lot of the things I've been doing is just been polishing like the backgrounds and stuff like that. Alright. Ow. Okay. Let's get out of here. Let's also, before I forget, main. Wait a second. Strafing. Visible. Facing locked and up. Let's turn that off. Also, let's say if M attached is not equal to null, M attached at visible visibility. Let's see. Lucretia says libgx is pretty good with GC. They try to pass by value mostly. It's the OOP model that makes the GC hard to work with. The paradigm itself is not good for GC because Java encourages object creation. I see what you mean. So like, rather than more functional stuff, I guess you mean like it encourages like creating things to hold things, creating things to reference things. Yeah, I kind of see what you mean. Like if we had a function, yeah, I kind of see how you kind of mean that. It's possible. Maybe we could. Well, maybe you could look into an alternative JVM language like Kotlin or Groovy or something, because they might be more functional and give you more options when it comes to less. Kind of give you more options. Let's see. C# is pretty good for controlling GC because structs get allocated on the stack, meaning vectors can be structs and get passed by value, which is good. Okay, I think I get what you're saying, what you mean. Passed by value, not by object. Okay. Okay, I think I kind of understand what you mean. Yeah, there's I don't notice too bad garbage collection stuff in my project, but I could see it being an issue for certain people. I know people complain about Java and garbage collection a pretty good amount. So that's something that we could probably mitigate, but not completely eliminate, I guess. Unless... Yeah. Maybe there's ways to tune the garbage collection so that it maybe takes more frames, so to speak, but also like does less per frame, so it doesn't stutter. Like maybe there's something we could do to kind of like tweak it. I don't know. We'll have to see. Or maybe that's something that each project individually can do. Anyway, there's a lot to do with Gearend still, so I'm gonna head off and continue working on it. Probably, maybe after a little break. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Solar Moon, and this has been another Gearend development stream. It's been fun. Thank you very much for stopping by if you did. And if you like these streams, please feel free to pop by over on my stop by on my like libgd. I'm sorry, on my Patreon or you can go over to my Bandcamp or itch and just grab something, and that would help me out. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Alright, well, see ya.